All Quiet on the Northern Front by Josh Freed. In the American film True Believer, actor James Woods, playing a lawyer, asks his assistant to track down two witnesses. She tells him that one is dead, the other has moved to Canada. Same thing, Woods says laconically, then tells her to forget it. Only days after seeing the film, I was reading Britain's Manchester Guardian and noticed a story about Wellington, the capital city of New Zealand. It was described as a place so boring, even the Canadians seemed interesting. Neither remark was very unusual. They were just routine spears flung into the tattered hide of the Canadian, a maligned, insulted, and allegedly dull creature said to be only slightly more interesting than the mollusk. An Ottawa columnist reports being told that one Canadian is as boring as 3 Swiss or 5 Belgians. A British survey asked people what comes to mind when they hear the word Canada. The answer? Rocks. The respected Economist magazine pronounces us more boring than all other nations except Singapore. What is going on? Am I just sensitive, or are we really a nation of limp flapjacks, the polyester of the international set? Whither this image of the dull Canadian? Personally, I think it's a bum rap, the result of living next to the most opinionated, loudmouthed nation on earth. I noticed the difference again recently on a trip to Costa Rica, where most tourists are from the U.S. or Canada. The two groups look identical, but you can locate the Americans the moment you walk into a room by their sound. The skiing in my state is absolutely unreal, a young American will be saying as if through a megaphone. I mean, we are talking mega skiing here, totally merciless, awesome. He is describing an obscure hill in Idaho, barely larger than Montreal's Mount Royal. Yet ask the Canadians at the next table about skiing the Rockies, and they'll reply, well, it depends on the season. It can be quite impressive in winter if it's not too crowded, or too foggy, or too wet. Canadians are a nation of qualifiers, ever cautious, obsessed with accuracy and truth. Our national image pays heavily for this trait, especially when compared to our larger-than-life neighbors. Unlike us, the Americans talk to entertain, with little concern for truth. Chicago is the greatest town on earth. The Philadelphia Flyers are the world champions. Their corner restaurant makes the best French food you'll ever taste. Who can possibly keep up? As a journalist, I am aware of the difference between us every time I cross a border to cover a story. Whether I interview a U.S. senator or a gas station attendant, Americans reply in colorful clips, punchy, made-for-television anecdotes fired out in machine-gun-like bursts. Not us. Put a Yankee and a Canuck at a hotel fire, and they describe different events. Reporter. What happened? American. It was awesome. I heard a rumble, then kapow. There was this incredible explosion. Flames everywhere. It was like hell, only worse. Canadian. I heard the sound of the explosion. Well, actually, I didn't know it was an explosion at the time. It was more like a thumping sound. Reporter, eager for a dramatic clip for news. What then? Canadian. Well, I put on my bathrobe to investigate. I went downstairs and there was, well, I couldn't see the fire, but I certainly saw a good deal of smoke. Reporter, desperate. How did you feel? Weren't you scared? Canadian. It's not really for me to answer. I wasn't in the best place to see the fire. My wife had a better angle. Didn't you, dear? Wife, in bathrobe, popping awake. Oh no, not really, dear. You were in a better position than me. Really, I was looking after Nathan. Canadian. No, dear. I'm almost sure you were closer than I was. Reporter rushes off to find more Americans staying at hotel. After several years of cross-continent reporting, I've come to the conclusion that finding clips like growing grapes has a lot to do with the sun. The further north you go, the leaner the harvest. Take the American South. People there talk in a slow drawl, but invariably deliver pearls like, son, your reasoning is about as bumpy as a moose's rump. Hit New York and it's all hype. People's hands wave about like conductors, and superlatives are the only form of adjective. Everything is stupendous, unique, divine. As you approach the border, good clip fades as fast as sunshine. Even in northern Maine you can already hear the earnest Canadian tones of an Edmund Muskie. By the time you reach Montreal or Toronto, lively clips must be extracted like molars, unwilling to leave the mouth. The hands have stopped moving, hyperbole has vanished. Adjectives are scarce, replaced by qualifiers like somewhat and possibly. The linguistic modesty is most visible in the heart of Canada, the far north, where people ration words like wood for a fire. Typically as a white horse musher I interviewed during a dog sled race several years ago. He was about to leave for 3 weeks alone in the bush, and I tried vainly to get a dramatic quote out of him. "Are you worried about the weather?" I asked. "Nope." "But storms can be dangerous when you're alone. You could die." "Yep." "What about your dogs? Isn't it tough on them?" "I haven't asked 'em." This northern silence may have meaning. On one icy journey in the north, I pestered my Inuit guide David with a litany of questions. Why did he seem so comfortable in the cold? How come his fingers didn't freeze when he took his gloves off to work? Why wasn't he shivering like me? After a series of patient, laconic replies, he offered some unexpected advice. "Words take energy, Josh. They burn up heat. If you talk less, you'll be more warm." It was the last thing he said to me for hours. Reluctantly, I was forced to take his advice, and the quieter I became, the warmer I got. Perhaps it is from here, this Darwinian need for silence, the Canadians have evolved and developed our undeserved reputation as dull. Wrapped in thick parkas, toques pulled over our ears, brains busily thinking about how to start the car, we are less generous of breath, less quick to expound than our southern neighbors. It's not that we're boring, we're just got better things to do than talk about the weather, like survive it.